Welcome. So in the last session, I was talking about the classification of kingdom fungi. So we have seen it's divided mainly into four classes. The class Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycetes. So already in the last session, I have given few points on Phycomycetes. On phycomycetes. Okay, so they live in aquatic habitats, and we also see them growing on decaying woods in moist and damp locations, and some of them will be living as obligate parasites on plants. Then we also have seen that the mycelium is aseptate and cenocytic. Okay, and coming to reproduction. Okay, coming to reproduction. So here the reproduction will be by three methods. We can see even vegetative reproduction we can see, and that will be by fragmentation. Then we can see even asexual mode of reproduction. So this asexual mode of reproduction will be formation of certain types of spores. Okay, so by spore formation, so those spores may be like juice spores. So these juice spores are motile spores, so they're capable of moving. And then another one called aplanospores. So these are non-motile, okay, non-motile spore formation. So that we see those two types of spore formation in uh, asexual mode of reproduction. Then, right, coming to the sexual mode of reproduction. So the sexual reproduction, it involves the fusion of gametes. So it involves the fusion of gametes, and this fusion may be isogamous, okay, isogamy, or maybe anisogamy, or oogamy, or oogamous. Okay, so here coming to isogamous, when we see the gametes are similar in morphology. So gametes similar in morphology. So then such fusion of gametes we call isogamous condition. And anisogamous, the gametes dissimilar. So they are okay right dissimilar in morphology. So if they are dissimilar in morphology, and their fusion is actually called anisogamous. The same thing in the oogamy also. So gametes are dissimilar in morphology, but in this case, okay, so I'll mention gametes dissimilar, okay, in morphology. And but here we see one large non-motile gamete, will be fused with one small motile gamete. So is a condition we call it oogamous. Then here one more point coming to this asexual mode of reproduction. So the spores are actually produced endogenously. So here these spores are produced endogenously. Okay, so endogenously means they are produced inside one special structure, and that is called sporangium. So as I mentioned, it's called sporangium. So we'll find a structure like this. Okay, so this is what we call sporangium, and inside the sporangium the spore formation takes place. If it is the case, then such mode of producing spores is called endogenous production of spores, right? And of course later we will see exogenously also we see the spore formation. So here I am discussing especially with those zoospores and aplonospores which are produced endogenously in a special structure called sporangium. Okay, then here again coming to the sexual mode of reproduction. So here fusion of gametes. Okay, so the male gamete and the female gamete. So its fusion results in the formation of a structure called zygospore. It results in the formation of zygospore. Zygospore, right? How this zygospore formation takes place. Okay, so here when two strains, okay, so different strains grow on same substratum. Okay, so one of it as acting as a plus strain, and this is a minus strain. Okay, so here, okay, so this structure that grows towards each other, so this is called progametangium. So it's called progametangium. So this is also a progametangium. Okay, so this progametangium, okay, starts swelling on the end. So it comes like this. Okay, and then so it gets differentiated, and now this structure, okay, is called gametangium. So this is called gametangium. Okay, so the distal part now it becomes a gametangium, and the basal one will remain as a suspensor cell. So this progametangium will later differentiate into gametangium and a suspensor cell, into gametangium and suspensor cell. Okay, right? So okay, so this is suspensor and this is gametangium. Okay, so now these gametangia will fuse with one another. Okay, so and then it results in the formation of a structure. So here it results in the formation of structure. So this is what we call the zygospore, and this zygospore remains dormant, okay, throughout the unfavorable conditions. Okay, so zygospore, okay, it remains dormant, okay, throughout the unfavorable conditions. So it remains, okay, so dormant throughout the unfavorable conditions, and once the conditions are written, okay, so the wall of this zygospore breaks up and it produces a vertical hypa. So it produces a vertical hypa, right? And this is what we call it a promycelium, and on the top of this is a structure called sporangium, and inside that sporangium, okay, spore formation takes place. So the spore formations take place inside this sporangium. How the sexual reproduction takes place in case of phycomycetes. So let's see a few examples of phycomycetes include the mucor rhizopus. So this rhizopus is called the bread mold. It's called bread mold. Okay, and one more we'll see albigo. So this albigo is a parasite. So it's a parasite on mustard plant. It's a parasite on mustard plant. Okay, so that's about the group Phycomycetes. And let's see the next group called Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes. So here the group Phycomycetes considered as lower fungi, whereas Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycetes we consider them a higher group of fungi, right? So here let's see these Ascomycetes. So here we call commonly them as sac fungi. So commonly called sac fungi. So later I'll tell you that why they are called okay the sac fungi. And these are mostly multicellular and few are unicellular. So mostly we see multicellular and few are unicellular. Multicellular and few are unicellular. Next one, they are saprophytic. Some are saprophytic. Okay, some are decomposers. Some are decomposers. Okay, some are saprophytic, some are decomposers. Then okay, some are parasitic, and some are coprophilous. Okay, so coprophilous means those fungi so that live on uh, right the fecal matter. Okay, so coprophilous, which means okay, so they okay live on fecal matter. Okay, like for example we can take cow dung. So there are fungi that will be growing on cow dung, and so or those fungi that grow on the fecal matters are called coprophilous, right? And then coming to this mycelium, okay, so they are branched and septate. So mycelium is branched and septate. So in almost higher fungi you will find the filaments, that is a hyphae, will be septate. Okay, so mycelium is branched and septate. Then so here also we will see different modes of reproduction. Coming to the asexual mode of reproduction. So in this case, the asexual mode of reproduction, this will be by production of conidia. So there is a production of conidia, okay, and these conidia are produced exogenously. So conidia are produced exogenously, means not inside special structures like a sporangia. So that if it is the case, then we call them endogenously. So here conidia production will be right exogenously, and here that's what we'll see. This is the mycelium, and some branches of this mycelium grows vertically. Okay, so I call it conidiophore. It's called conidiophore, and it shows okay branches like this. Okay, and on the branches we will see the spore formation. Okay, so you can see here. So all these are spores which are formed. So these are the conidia, are called conidia, right? So here the conidiophore is a vertical branch, and all these network of hyphae, so this is mycelium. So some branches will grow vertically and they will be producing spores. Okay, so there you can see there is no special structure, and the spores are produced, okay, on the free ends of these branches. And okay, such mode of producing spores is called exogenous production, right? And when these conidia are released, they, if they get a suitable substratum, they germinate and develop into okay, new individuals. Coming to this sexual reproduction, so the sexual reproduction will be again by formation of spores, and these spores will be called ascospores, so are called ascospores. And these ascospores are produced endogenously in a structure. So these ascospores are produced endogenously in a okay, sac-like structure. So in a sac-like structure, and that is called ascus. So in a sac-like structure called ascus. And these asci are actually arranged in fruiting bodies called ascospores. I'll discuss that one in detail. So where and how this ascus, of course, because of this structure only, it has got the name, okay, the sac fungi. Actually from the Greek ascos, which means sac. Okay, so let's see how this sexual reproduction takes place. So let's see. Okay, so this is the fruiting body. It's called the ascocarp. Okay, and this will be having okay structures. So like this. Right, so and this is okay, we'll be having some intervening structures. Okay, right. uh, Now this is the structure called ascus. So it is the ascus. You can see this is another ascus. So plural asci. Okay, right. And inside this you find the spore development. So you can see the spores form inside. So these are called ascospores. So these are called ascospores. Okay, so this is how the fruiting body, the ascocarp looks like. So ascocarp is the fruiting body, and in the fruiting body we find asci. So there will be several asci, and inside the, I mean, each ascus we see the development of spores called ascospores. About how the sexual reproduction takes place in ascomycetes, we'll see some examples of this group. Examples include Aspergillus, claviceps, then neurospora, so are some, and then there are even morels and truffles. Okay, so these morels and truffles are edibles, so means are eatables, so they are edible and okay considered the delicacies. And then coming to this neurospora, so this neurospora is extensively used in biochemical and genetic works. So it's used in biochemical and genetic works. So that's all about the group Asco mycetes. Then the next group we'll see about basidiomycetes. Okay, so coming to this group basidiomycetes, so here this group is commonly called club fungi, is commonly called club fungi. Okay, so now they grow in okay soil, so where we see them living, so they grow in soil. Okay, we see them living in soils, then on logs, on tree stumps. Okay, so they are seen growing on okay tree stumps, and then even living in okay other organisms, okay, as parasites, okay, or as parasites in plants. So they live, I mean some members are parasites in this group, that is the meaning. Then coming to its body, the mycelium. So the mycelium is septate and it is branched. So mycelium is septate and branched. Okay, and then coming to the mode of reproduction. So of course uh, we see all the vegetative reproduction in all the groups. So here we see vegetative reproduction, then asexual reproduction, and we also see the sexual mode of reproduction. So coming to this vegetative mode of reproduction, so this will be usually by fragmentation, is by fragmentation. And coming to asexual reproduction, so usually we don't see this asexual spores formation. Okay, usually not found, so they are not found. Okay, right. And then coming to the sexual reproduction, so this will actually involve the plasmogamy. Okay, that I will discuss in detail, which actually involves the fusion of two somatic cells, okay, or two different strains or genotypes, that will see it now. See how this takes place. So here we have two strains. Okay, say this is a plus strain and this is an okay another strain, so the negative strain. Okay, so when this okay two different strains or two different genotypes, okay, they come in contact. Okay, so here the fusion, so the first fusion is okay plasmogamy. So here this is plasmogamy. So the plasmogamy actually results in okay a condition called dikaryon, so that is a dikaryotic stage. So immediately the plasmogamy is not followed by karyogamy, so hence you will find the two nuclei separate, so they don't fuse immediately. Okay, later they fuse. Of course, the plasmogamy is followed by karyogamy, okay, and this later will develop into a structure that is a fruiting body, what we call it a basidiocarp. So here I'll take an example, mushroom. Okay, so we'll see the mushroom. So this is the fruiting body, okay, and here we see, okay, so this is what we call basidiocarp, is the fruiting body. So the resultant zygote will develop into this basidiocarp or fruiting body. This one shows, I'll just draw. Okay, so it shows the presence of gills. Okay, so these are called gills. Of course, these gills are not compared with animal gills. Okay, so here there is a structure called stite. Okay, and now when we see this structure, the gills, okay, so we find there inside, so structures like this. Okay, so these are called basidia. So they are called basidia, and these basidia are club shaped. So it is because of that, okay, the basidiomycetes are commonly called, okay, club shaped. So why it has that name club shape? Because the basidia are club shape. So club shape means the one with a narrow, okay, stalk like, and then on the top you find a bulb like. So this is what we call a club shaped structure. So here the basidia, which are club shaped, and now inside this basidia we see the process of meiosis takes place, and each basidium, so here singular is basidium, and inside the basidium the process of meiosis takes place, and it results in the formation of four basidiospores. So these are four basidiospores, and these four basidiospores are produced exogenously. Produced exogenously. This is how, okay, the process of sexual reproduction takes place in basidiomycetes. Okay, so leading to this basidiocarp, and this portion which I have enlarged, the gill portion, okay, so that I have enlarged here, and that you see the basidia, and the basidia will produce, each basidium produces four basidiospores, and that produced exogenously. Okay, so this is how the sexual reproduction takes place in basidiomycetes. So here examples include agaricus. Of course, the agaricus which I have taken, that's a scientific name of mushroom. Okay, then there are other parasitic forms like eustilago. Okay, so this eustilago is the one that causes smuts in plants. So it causes a disease called smut in plants, and then another one called puccinia. So this causes rust in plants. So that's about the basidiomycetes, right? So in the next session we will see about deuteromycetes, and then we'll also see about kingdom Plantae and Animalia, okay, in the next session.